as well as good morning to our own, as well as to any else who might be joining us from different time zones. It is indeed great to have our own here on this session of Stroke Support India, which will be taken by Shruti. I will just make a small introduction. Aaron is active on different social media, and we have been interacting for some time. And it is indeed amazing to see the way that he is finding purpose, I would say, in life. I've read his blog a bit. I will just make some observations. He was and he is kind of a go-getter, doing all sorts of things from water tanks, etc., to running own successful businesses for about 12 years. When suddenly in September 2010, he suffered a massive aneurysm and his stroke consequent. 2010, which is about 13 years ago now, and the stroke made him reevaluate various things that he, like we all take for granted. Life goes on unless such events force us to look again at life. And it is wonderful to see how he has changed. He has, with his faith in God, and we will be talking about that, how is now he's on a journey to find hope and purpose for himself as well as for many others across the world by his different ventures, including Stroke TV Media. You can find him YouTube. You can find him on his blog, which he has just put in the chat, which is stroketv.blogspot.com. And it's really amazing, and it is inspiring that despite deficiencies, one moves on. One does not one does not allow those deficiencies to hold oneself back. One does what one can. And this chat will be handled by Shruti. Shruti is herself a strong pillar of our patient support group, of stroke support group, and very actively involved with all our aphasia-related initiatives. So I will pass it on to you, Shruti, and to you, Aaron, to take it further from there. And I will, of course, come back later with questions, and others also maybe put their comments in the chat box or can come back with their questions later by raising their hands, and we'll get back to them. So over to you, Shruti and Aaron. Take it further from here. Thank you very much.
You're on mute, Shri.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome, Aaron. It's such a privilege to have you here. I saw a couple of your videos on YouTube, but you have scores of them through your Stroke TV media, and it is such an inspiration, I must tell you. Lot of lessons learned, and I want to share it with our group today through you. So welcome again. What I want to know is, how was your life before stroke, and so how did the events unfold after your stroke?
Well, before my stroke, and again, I apologize for my speech deficit. Tell me if you don't understand me. But I had my stroke about 13 years ago in 2010. But I had a brain aneurysm first. And 2 weeks later, while I was in a coma, I had a massive stroke. So, I am grateful to be here, and I'm grateful for you guys doing what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. but you are very fluent. We can understand you really well.
Can you? Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure because to me it sounds so different than I used to. Before my stroke, I was self-employed. I ran my company, and when I had my main aneurysm and stroke, Saeed talked a little bit about purpose. And I think probably the most common thing in the stroke survival world, like your husband, I don't know him, but it takes away your purpose. It really does. And it's the attitude of the stroke survivor. Yeah, it's in the mind of whether you give up or you move on and you take your stroke as a new beginning, a new opportunity to help people. I am here with you today because I'm a stroke survivor and I'm here to help you. I'm going to support Stroke Support India. That's my new purpose in life. So when people have stroke, they need to not give up on the finding of the purpose. It's just different. They have a purpose. I believe, Sari, that everybody is alive that survives stroke has a purpose. They just don't know it. They have never looked for it before because it's so much different. I am completely different than I used to be. But it's now become my purpose. It's just different.
I see that you are very spiritual. So are
Yeah.
we. So our group members are spiritual too. So this gives us the hope. The faith gives us the hope. But I also see that you are very passionate about your purpose.
Sari, honestly, you're talking about spiritual. I have my brain injury, massive, should kill me. I should be dead. And then when I'm a stroke, for sure I should be dead. But something occurred during those times. I had that near-death experience. I would not give up my stroke for anything because it made me spiritually awakened. I became awakened to it. And it's really, really exciting for me to watch God work through stroke, a new stroke, positively. And I help thousands of people around the world, and I'm honored to do it. I'm honored to be here.
We are honored to have you too. You spoke about the purpose, you spoke about the spiritual awakening. What I want to know, Aaron, is how was it immediately after the stroke? How was the medical facility available to you?
Well, yet a little. Could you say that a little bit slower, Sri? Because I have also hearing deficit. Could you say that a little bit slower, please? Repeat that, please.
Okay. How was it after the stroke? So when could you reach the hospital? Yeah.
I think probably the biggest, I want to say, disappointment in the stroke survivor world is they tell you you're going to recover. Sure, you don't. Stroke survivors, that is a medical term. It's not really true. You don't recover. You rebuild. You have to rebuild your life. You recover from a cold, recover from the flu, but you don't recover from stroke like that. So for me afterwards, I think I had to learn to change the way I think. I had to change my mindset. I had to stop looking at stroke like a victim, curl up and roll up dimple and die. The real truth is that stroke survivors have a purpose and a reason to live. And I think for me, after it took time for me because I was depressed. I was suicidal in the beginning. But then I had someone talk to me about attitude, about mindset, about hope. And if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. And so it's changed my life in that.
I would like to ask you a question, and please pardon me on that. How is your upper motor function? For example, what are your current abilities or deficits now?
Well, currently I obviously have a speech deficit, but I'm also half paralyzed. And I've been in a wheelchair for 13 years. And I'll tell you, it's not fun. It's kind of painful. But I can't walk. And all those things are physical. But I assure you, say your members are spiritual. There's a spiritual side to stroke. That if you let stroke become your teacher, you don't look stroke negatively, but you let it become your spiritual teacher. It will teach you about spirituality a lot. Amazing.
Yes. It's all about how we look at life. We can find happiness in every small thing. So we need not wait for a big thing or big achievement. Trying to do small things, small progresses, I think is time for celebration after a stroke. A small improvement, being happy with family, and trying to put the best as a caregiver and as the stroke survivor too. That is how we have been trying every day.
You know, you say take happiness, joy in the small things. It's super important. That is such key to finding purpose, to finding happiness, to finding joy after stroke. You've got to, I don't care if your little pinky twitches. It's a small thing, but it's celebrated. Celebrate the small things. It'll change their life. It will. And it's important, it's really important to celebrate the small things because the big things come later. But the small things start now. So that's
Definitely. I truly believe in that. Finding happiness in every moment. Every moment has something to offer to us. And be passionate. So I have seen your videos, I have read your blog. So you're so passionate. Your passion led you to find this stroke TV medium. So how much of your day you spend on this, and how do you contact people? How do you get? I think I'm asking too many questions at a time. So so please tell more about your Stroke TV media.
Stroke TV media really has a purpose, and that Stroke TV media is of hope, joy, and help people find life after stroke. And what I'm going to be doing, I've been talking to some colleagues, and they were talking about helping the caregiver because there is a part of stroke that thing, and you're part of it. I wrote a book. My goal is to write a book someday called The Ripple Effect of Stroke. Because yes, your husband has stroke. I have stroke. My wife, like you, also is a type of stroke survivor. So I think it's important for us as stroke community to realize there's a lot more people affected by stroke than just the stroke survivor, the wife, the spouse, the caregiver, whatever, the friend is all part of it.
Yes. During our recovery as a family together, we have two small kids who are pretty big now, but as we in the path of our journey, we visualized how our life will be 2 years from now, 5 years from now. So yesterday my daughter was telling, mother, what I had thought, the kind of college I will get into. Today, I'm really happy we are there today. And I keep telling my children, see, we are progressing. Let us feel happy about it. And every day is a day of gratitude to God. So, how has your journey been in these last few years after the stroke?
Great question. I think you hit on the target. What is the key? To be grateful. Be grateful you're alive. Be grateful you have your spouse. Be grateful your children. Just if you have an attitude of gratitude, if you're grateful to be alive, it will change your stroke life. For me, that attitude of gratitude, the attitude of being thankful I'm alive, changed the trajectory of what I was doing, because there was the other alternative, the opposite can occur. Your attitude could be one, depression, darkness, dark energy is not good. But I think what people need to realize, you need to make a choice. There's only two choices. Either you progress or you regress.
Yes.
There's only two. You either look at your stroke positively, like you just said, or gratitude, or you give up. Which one you can choose? I say, stroke survivor, if you're out there listening, you three said it perfectly. Have an attitude of gratitude. Start changing your complaining to gratefulness, and it will change you. That's what changed my life.
Yes, yes. As you said, it is the attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. When we have that feeling of gratitude, it'll take us forward. It'll help us to progress. That is what we have felt.
Yeah, I think that probably, so that is a really good point too. Because if you have the attitude of gratitude, it shifts the energy around your entire life. And that's what you're talking about. It makes you progress. You're right. It does mean you can move forward and not stay stuck, because you're now looking forward to being alive. You're grateful to be alive.
Very true. One more thing that helped us was, though my husband's progress is very good, but still he has many, as you said, the rebuilding procedure and the rewiring procedure in the brain, a lot of it is yet to happen. But one thing which helped us was to have a routine. We had a timetable, we had a routine. This helped us, to cover many of our therapies, points, or going out to the park. So we have a daily routine and we have a weekly routine. So what kind of routine helped you?
Wow. It's important to document the changes. I've not been really good about that. So good for you for doing that. But it's important to realize that life is not over after stroke.
Yes.
Life, your husband, myself, it's not over. It's different. It is different. I mean, I personally, sure, I'm very fortunate that God has chosen me to build a thing called Stroke TV Media, and I'm able to help thousands and thousands of stroke survivors around the world, and it's my honor because stroke, you people, I see you because you're a type of stroke survivor in my book. Are some of the strongest people I've ever met in my life because stroke is one of the hardest things I think a person can go through in life. So again, I'm going to go back. Sri, we were talking about attitude. If there's one thing anybody takes away from today's show, attitude is everything. Your mindset and the mindset and the way you think is everything. It'll either propel you forward or make you go backwards. Your attitude is everything. So
Yes, attitude is everything. My next question to you is about aphasia, because we have families who are here today and affected too. So, how was your aphasia recovery? That journey.
but me, what I have is called dysarthria. It's
Okay.
slurred speech. I had very little aphasia in the beginning. I think aphasia, does your husband have aphasia? Does your husband have
Yes.
aphasia?
Yes, he has aphasia and dysarthria.
Aphasia is so cruel. Aphasia is probably the cruelest deficit I think a stroke survivor can have because they have such a hard time communicating. I mean, I can slow my speech down and use strategies to make myself more understandable. But with aphasia, you cannot find the words. The first words are not there. So best thing to do is slow down. You gotta look at the brain like a processor, like a computer processor. It's now stroke breaks things. The things in your brain does not. Aphasia is a broken processor. It's the mind translating to speech. That processor is broken. So you need to speak as fast as the processor can process. So what happens is we have a stroke. We remember what we used to be like. My speech, when I first had my stroke, I wanted to speak like I used to. I want to speak fast. Well, that's just a train wreck. So with the visual or dysarthria, you have to speak and think slower. It's really important because remember the processor is damaged.
The treatment or the therapies are different and sometimes similar for aphasia and dysarthria. So, did you have any support group, a hospital near you where you took regular therapies?
Yes, I was fortunate enough to get into a what's called a rehabilitation hospital. It's all they do is rehabilitate. And I had speech therapy, I had physical therapy. Although unable to walk, my speech, when I first had my stroke, my speech was absolutely unintelligible. In fact, I was mute for 2 months after my stroke. I could not speak after my stroke. But eventually, you talk about those little gains, little changes. I began mumbling. Couldn't understand me, but I began to make a sound. Months after my stroke. those sounds turn into words, those words turn into sentences, those sentences turn into paragraphs. I'm just saying those little things add up. Eventually, years later, now look, I'm hosting a couple of shows a week. I do shows, I host them. So, great.
That's really amazing. The improvement and your achievement. So both are amazing. I have a question about the physical therapy. Even now, do you are
I'm not sure what's this happened. You're frozen, Shri. I don't know if you can hear me, but you are frozen. There's no audio, or I have videos frozen, audio's gone.
You're right. I am in the same stage as you are. Shruti's audio is gone and video is frozen. Maybe in India, sometimes we have power outages, but let me try to understand what she was.
Well, you wanted you could always take her place if you have.
Right. I will do that while she logs in. I think she has logged out, and I will just take, while I have been listening to you. Of course, these are amazing experiences. I just had one curiosity, Aaron. You had, and I read in your blog also, an amazing near-death experience,
Yes.
of which showed you the way. Which were you religious before the stroke or before the aneurysm?
Well, I did spend some time. Well, no, to answer, I did not know who or what God was. The near-death experience probably my biggest life changer. My stroke and my opinions are nothing compared to what my eyes were open spiritually to what the truth was. I now knew beyond a shadow of a doubt there's a God. I know there's life after death. And that was a gift, really. And it's stroke, and in my stroke and my opinionism, that I learned I don't want to get into it, so I'll put my near-death experience in the chat, and so people can read it, because I did write about it. But I think it's important to realize there is a lot more to life than this life on earth. That's all I'll say. I mean, my life has changed dramatically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's one question in the chat which we can probably take up. I think Shruti is coming in, but meanwhile we can take the question. In your speech recovery, did music in any way help you? That is,
it's fun. That's a great question, and because for me, I played guitar and was a singer before. I know I have strokes. So to answer your question, yes, I encourage anybody with any sort, whether you have a speech deficit or not, sing. Singing is a spiritual act, and it does things that into the body. I can't explain it, but yes, sing, and sing is more. It'll help. It'll help speech. Hey, Sri, you made it back. Hi, Sri.
yes,
my apologies to you.
she's back, so I will pass it back to her, and she'll take it further from there. Yeah, Shruti?
Yes, yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So we were talking about the therapies. I would like to know if you're undergoing the physical therapy even now.
Oh, yeah, I was cut off from physical therapy by my insurance years after my stroke. So they cut me off. So I only do my home therapy on my own. That's a that is fair. Can you hear me? Hi, hello.
That's a daughter who's coming. Maybe some
Yeah, it's
there.
technical support.
Okay, got her back. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason I asked you this was after few years after a stroke, so we tend to try to speak a person with aphasia, but they tend to like get on with their lives, but go down with their therapies. For example, exercises. So I want to know more about that from you.
Well, I definitely believe not, Shreya. I can help your husband with this dysarthria somewhat. The main thing with dysarthria, slow down. Don't speak like you used to. Can't. Because if your husband, anybody with dysarthria, again, or aphasia, I'm gonna repeat what I said earlier. You gotta look at your brain as a computer processor. And the chip or the whatever the processor that processes your speech is damaged. So it's critical you speak slow enough that the processor can work. And I don't know what is the stroke here in India. I don't know what it's like, but in California, and it's pretty good, but they cut you off early, so your insurance does not cover therapies after about 3 to 5 years after your stroke. They don't cover.
I want to know more about what your wife feels after your stroke, and she would have had faced the she would have faced more pressure as a caregiver. So I want to know more about it.
For my wife to still be here and doing like you. How long ago did your husband have stroke?
5 years.
Yeah, see, I've been 13. She's been doing it for 13 years. And thank you for staying with your husband, because there's so many that leave because they leave their husband, whatever, leave the wife, whatever, they leave him. But the caregiver, what my wife has gone through, you've got to be a strong woman to stay there. You have to. And she's been through, I want to say, some extremely hard and dark times, and still pushes through it.
Yes, I understand. When you said that she pushes through it, I feel that even the stroke survivor also pushes through it.
Well, I think all of us have to. I mean, but whether you're the caregiver or the stroke survivor, there are times like there's a part of me in my mind that wants to give up sometimes. Truly give up, and you can't give up. Like you say, Cherie, you have to push through it. You have to. When you get those feelings of wanting to give up, you can't listen to them. You can't entertain the thoughts. You can't dwell on it. We just spoke about it. You must dwell on maybe a bird singing. Maybe knowing your wife is there. Maybe saying I love you to your wife, saying I love you to your child. you know, there's a spiritual man named Jordan Dyer, and he says, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. And I think as a caregiver and a stroke survivor, we can shift the way we look at our stroke. Things in life around us will change, will affect the real world. I feel like it does.
That is absolutely correct. The way we look at stroke and the way the things look at us. But what I want to know is, what is the awareness of people around us or around you, how they take it? The awareness is not very high, and I'm sure through your Stroke TV video and through your initiatives, you're doing a wonderful job. But still we feel people don't know much about it.
Now see you guys in India. You're the only one I know. I knew one other stroke survivor in India, but the awareness, this program, this show you're doing right now, it's how we will make people more aware. And I think, and now here in the U.S., someone has a stroke every 40 seconds here in the United States. I don't know what your stats are in India, but here in the United States, every 40 seconds someone has a stroke. Why they don't teach children in school about stroke, I have no idea.
That is true. I've seen a lot of videos where there are very young stroke survivors. Recently, I read a tweet in this aphasia recovery connection where they said that a 3-year-old has aphasia. So the situation, is a cause of concern.
Well, what you and Saeed are doing and doing this show, doing a group, we need to raise stroke awareness, no doubt. There's so much stroke out there. People don't realize how often it's happening. And it really comes down to people like you, people like Saeed, people like us put our voice out there, use our voice. I mean, if your stroke survivors in your group spoke up and began to make a push to really raise stroke awareness, it'll change everything.
That's really true. We should be the change we want to see.
Bingo, we should be the change in the world we want to see in the world. I agree. I could say better.
How do you, apart from the Stroke Media TV, so what are your other hobbies?
Well, I probably work a lot first. I have absolute passion for helping stroke survivors around the world. And then for me, I spend anywhere from 12 to 13 hours a day helping stroke survivors around the world. Why? Because I love it. I could spend more time doing it. I love it so much. I mean, if you change the way you look at stroke, so many of us look at stroke like a victim, like stroke happened to us. Stroke does not define who we are. How we respond does. Let me repeat that because that's really key. Stroke does not define the person. How they respond does. It's really, people don't realize stroke, how they respond to what stroke did to them is who they are, not what happened to them. That makes sense?
Yes. You travel a lot?
No, I'm in a wheelchair, don't get to travel, but I do most of my shows and all my meetings and everything I do online. I use Zoom, I use software, but I'm always available. I want to reach, if anybody wants to ever reach out to me, get hold of Saeed. I'll be more than happy to help. And anytime your group would like to get together, work Stroke TV Media. Stroke TV Media is here to support people like you. So anything I could do for you vis-a-vis, I think it's my honor.
It is our honor too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back here in India, we have a lot of alternative treatments. We have like yoga, stem cell therapy, not much established. And we do have acupuncture, Ayurveda. So anything like that helped you? Any other alternative treatments helped you?
Well, I've not, although I've heard of the yoga, I have not done it, unfortunately. I heard it's really good therapy, yoga therapy. And then, although I am looking at not, I have not used any personally. I have only used traditional medicine. I did some acupuncture, but you know, I'm gonna pause for a second. I'm gonna tell you something I've learned over the 13 years. You know, I mentioned it earlier, but they give almost a false hope to stroke survivors and their family by telling them they're gonna recover. And I don't believe there is such thing as recovery in stroke. I don't. But I do believe that a person could rebuild their life after stroke. Big difference. One, rebuilding your life shows action. Recovery shows no effort. It just happens. I don't believe that is true. I think it's a false hope they give stroke survivors. To use the word recovery should be very careful because really the word to use is rebuilding. Your husband, Sri, has to rebuild his life. And the only way that is going to happen is if he puts the effort in to do it. It's not just going to happen like he has a cold or something. He's got to do it. Now, what happens is a lot of times stroke survivors get depressed. They stop wanting to try. Unfortunately, that's the only thing that can slow their rebuilding and letdowns. They stop trying. You know, you can't. If it's alone, there's a saying I say, you may see me stumble, but you will never see me quit. Not really.
Yes, I understand. What about emotional issues after a stroke? Emotional issues or psychological issues. Everyone goes through it. How did you cope up with it?
It's gotten better over time, and that's a part that does get better with time. But I was very emotional. I would cry, or get angry, or get frustrated. Or my emotions were right under my skin. So it took time, and I would say the majority of stroke survivors go through an emotional period in life. They go through that emotional instability. Now, for you caregivers out there, sometimes we stroke survivors get frustrated, yell, get angry, whatever. But understand, it's really because we're angry inside ourselves, or we're frustrated with the way we are, so we lash out at people. So don't take it personally. If stroke survivor ends up getting mad at you, it's because they're really frustrated with themselves.
Yes. We have gone through the same issues, but one of us will say sorry first, and I will tell my husband, I am not you. You are going through something which others are not. You are amongst us, you are one amongst us, we are together as a family, but still we are not you. You know best what you are going through.
Yeah, I agree. You know, that's probably the my wife. She gets pretty frustrated with me sometimes, no doubt. But it's important, and what she would do is she didn't do it. It's really, I'm gonna say what I know is right. You as a caregiver need your support group. You need your support. You need to take time for you because I don't think there's any harder thing in life than stroke. Honestly, sure. I mean, I think stroke decimates the. Again, I'm gonna write a book called The Ripple Effect of Stroke because the stroke is a pebble in the water, but the ripples can go for miles, and the ripples are all you, the kids, the family, the friends. So we need to all make sure that we're getting the support and we're able to vent. Because I guarantee sure you have some stuff that would help you to talk to somebody about. Because dealing with stroke survivors, I'm one, it's not always easy, can be quite challenging. But I think one, I don't know how long the show is, but I will say one thing. You and Srish, just forgot his name. Yeah, I just forgot his name. Oh God. So is it okay? Well, I have a memory deficit. I don't know, but the important thing is you two putting yourself out there and showing the way to people. Keep it up. I am so proud of you to do that because you are impacting not just your life, but you're impacting lives around. Life is all about. We're here to help each other.
Yes, yes. I believe in that too. We are here to help each other. My learning is growing every day, but whatever I have learned till now, it's definitely I'm making use of it to help others, motivate others, and tell them not to give up. I always say there is life after aphasia and hope after aphasia, hope after a stroke. Definitely, we can rebuild lives together. And according to me, support groups do help a lot.
A lot.
Mm.
You know, I think it's really critical for your audience and your people to understand stroke does not define who we are. Stroke doesn't define you, doesn't define me, doesn't define. Stroke is what we had happen to us. How we respond does. And I want to make sure the outcome of stroke and your accomplishments in life after stroke are based on how you respond, not what happened to you. You know, there's that saying that says life is 90% of what happens, it's how you respond. Life is not, it's 10% of what happened to you and 90% of how you respond. So I'm here to encourage each of you, respond positively. Respond, don't look at it as stroke as a victim. You're not a victim. But there's a question from the audience, from Schrader, that says, was it a ruptured aneurysm or your case or clipping done before? So I was told by a neurosurgeon, and the answer was the only way that my brain aneurysm could be fixed is a ruptured. This according to my neurosurgeon. He said they would have gone in and tried to clip it, I would have died. So, since I had a subarachnoid brain aneurysm, it was coiled. So they stopped the bleeding by going to my femoral artery in my leg, up into my heart, into my brain, and titanium coils to stop the bleeding of my brain aneurysm. But in the second question, symptoms. I'm going to take the second. Thank you for the question. But I'm going to say the second question being, was there any symptoms? Oh, watch for headaches. Headaches, not normal headaches. Headaches you could not stop. Headaches you could not take. I went to ER 4 times before my brain aneurysm exploded. I was at home all 4 times from the hospital, migraine medication. These were not normal headaches. You know, when you need to watch, when you're having headaches, you cannot stop. Repeated headaches, go get a brain scan. Check for aneurysms. You get, stroke, arm weakness, dizziness, balance issues, speech issues. Those are all symptoms. Watch for those. And you and I were just talking, Sri, why don't they teach this in school to our kids realize mom or dad's having a stroke? I don't know.
Yes, that's true. Prior knowledge can prevent many things. We can have a better quality of life. Mr. Sridhar, who has asked you these questions, unfortunately, his daughter had an aneurysm and a stroke and an aphasia. Sridhar sir, you can unmute. If you want, you can switch on your camera and you want to ask any more questions.
Yeah, feel free to ask, and you don't necessarily anybody watching this show on the replay. My email is for me to speak, man. My email. I'll put my email on chat. Anybody in your group can email me any questions. I'll put me a mail in the chat. Reach out to me. And I'm here to talk to you, help you, and we get virtual meet. I have a virtual. If there's anybody from your group that wants to come on my show and tell their story, I invite them on my show. They come on my show. It's fine. Tell the story. Your husband, I don't know. How bad is your husband? Is your husband's speech better? You understand your husband?
His speech is little better. Sentences are not fluent. He can, but he can speak better in his mother tongue, in his native language. Yeah, Sridhar sir, please. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, I have a question. You had just told about the aneurysm. That did it give enough indications, or it was sudden, like in your case?
I'm gonna need that
And was it a ruptured aneurysm, or it was the clipping was done just in time?
Okay, they did my aneurysm is not clipped. They didn't find it until after it exploded, after it ruptured. So they put coils in it and a stent to stop the bleeding in my brain.
Okay. Does aneurysm rupture give enough indications before the patient can take any action, or in most of the cases I have seen that it deceives us?
Yeah, I don't fully understand what this being said because I can't hear him well.
Okay. is the symptoms of aneurysm enough to show, to like go to a doctor and find out that an aneurysm will happen, or does it happen suddenly?
Well, they're not, as the doctor knows, not all the same, but majority have headaches. These headaches went on for probably weeks before my aneurysm blew up. And these headaches were not normal. These headaches would drop me to my knees. I couldn't move off the floor for hours. And it made me light sensitive, sound sensitive. I mean, dropping a pin, a needle on the ground would cause extreme pain. So again, my aneurysm was called a subaqueous aneurysm. And it was right in the middle of my brain. But the main thing is just be aware your body will tell you there's something wrong. I believe, and I've learned over this period of time, that the body talks to the brain, tells it there's something wrong. My body was telling me I was having something wrong in my brain. I ignored it. I thought it was just a migraine, but ended up being an aneurysm.
Yeah, because as you said about migraine, the same happened to his daughter. They went multiple times to the doctor. They felt it was a migraine.
You just can't ignore your body. Your body talks. I believe that God made your body be able to touch your brain. A lot of the times they don't believe it, but if you listen to your body, it will talk to your brain and tell you there's something wrong.
One last thing I want to ask you today is, to the
Please.
viewers and those who will see this video in future, what are the key things you want to tell them to help them rebuild their lives after a stroke?
I would have to realize that I'd have to first tell people there's hope. What stroke will lie to you. Stroke lies to you. It tells you there's no hope, but that's not true. You can find life after hope with your attitude. How you respond, remember, you are the one that how you respond dictates what your life will be like in the future as a stroke survivor. So many times I see so many people, and I mean the majority of people, stroke survivors, the stroke becomes who they are. And that's a lie of stroke. It's not who you are. It's what happened to you. Now it's time for you to decide what you're going to become, because it's up to you.
That's true. Yeah. Over to you, Hardeep ji. Any
Thank you.
questions? Yes.
Yes. Indeed. Thank you very much, Shruti and Aaron.
Well, say my pleasure.
This whole chat has been full of inspiration and tips, and what we both as caregiver as well as the affected must not lose hope. And I just wanted to encapsulate for someone who might be hearing, just to what you mentioned about aneurysm and the symptoms that you had weeks before, severe headache, which, as I heard you, even when you went to the doctor, even the doctor could not diagnose that properly, took it as a migraine and sent you back, which shows, sometimes that even the medical fraternity may not look at all the possibilities. And so we have to be aware, we have to be sometimes, and maybe all the times, raise up the possibility of stroke or an aneurysm happening to sensitize even maybe the doctor. And as you rightly said, Arun, and I was reading, maybe there is a campaign in US schools now where they are sensitizing the children to the possible stroke symptoms, as you said, so that one can maybe call the ambulance quickly, maybe take preventive actions quickly. But overall, an amazing chat. And yes, as you rightly said, don't let a stroke define you. A stroke does not define you. It is how you respond to the stroke, how you respond to events that defines you. And I think we, as affected as well as caregivers, must always bear that in mind, that, as you rightly said, life is only 10% of what happens to you, but 90% it is how you respond to what happens to you. So that is critically important for all of us to remember. And as you also said, the attitude of gratitude, celebrating even small improvements, because those small improvements will lead to bigger improvements. Talking of rebuilding, which is a more active way of participating in rebuilding your life, rather than a passive way of recovery, hoping for recovery, moving onwards to a more active rebuilding process, because indeed you have to rebuild your life. That is a rebuilding process that happens. So thank you very much. Indeed, a very great chat, Aaron. It's a
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I have written down all your inspirational quotes.
Right, indeed. We'll share this. I will just take a few quick minutes. If anyone in the group wants to unmute and say something before we close this chat, if anyone has any thoughts or any questions they want to share with the group or with our own, please unmute.
Yeah, also let me put my email in the
Yes,
chat.
yes, for sure. We will also put your email on our group as well as on the recording of this chat for people to reach out to you, as they need be. And if anyone wants to say right now, please feel free. Otherwise, we will close this chat. Fine. I think we can close this chat then. I think Sridharji wants to say something. Sridhar Saab, you wanted to say something?
Sir. After this bad incidents of aneurysm rupture, one of the therapist told, which comes to my mind is, like, if somebody has a chest pain, they immediately get panicked and they go to the nearest hospital and get the things checked. But if any headache comes, the thing what will be done is just pop a pill and then go to sleep. So that is the thing which is happening right now.
Unfortunately, that is a fact, that stroke symptoms or emergencies are very frequently confused with other diseases. We don't, because many a times it's not an apparent emergency. Heart attack, for example, is an emergency. Person has fallen down. So something has gone wrong or is going on. Unfortunately, with stroke, many a times that does not happen immediately. And particularly in India, perhaps, I don't know about US, but in India, I very frequently say we don't believe in preventive maintenance. We believe in breakdown maintenance. So that is unfortunate, but yes, I think we all must be sensitized to this. Prevention is much better than cure, as we know in the case of stroke specifically. So it is up to the general population first and the others. And that is, as you know, one of the purposes of Stroke Support India, to raise that awareness. And that is as much our responsibility as is the responsibility of the medical fraternity, to be aware of the stroke symptoms, the possibilities, and be on the lookout for them. So thank you very much again, Aaron and Shruti. Wonderful chat. Thank you
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you so
for your
much.
efforts. And I'm doing this meeting now. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye. Bye,
you so
say.
much.
Bye. Bye.